Hi, thanks for joining us for the Family Plots, Gardening in the Mid-South. I'm Chris Cooper. Vegetable gardens are at the peak of production. Today we're going to cook with some of our tasty harvest. Also, the stores have lots of lawn chemicals on the shelves. But what do they do? That's just ahead on the Family Plot, Gardening in the Mid-South.
Production funding for the Family Plot, Gardening in the Mid-South is provided by the WKNO Production Fund, the WKNO Endowment Fund, and by viewers like you. Thank you.
Welcome to the Family Plots. I'm Chris Cooper. Joining me today is Karen Bernard. Ms. Karen is the UT Extension Agent right here in Shelby County. And Mr. D is with us today.
Howdy.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
Good to be here.
So, Mr. D, we have Karen here. That means cooking demonstration. You excited about that?
Food. You
Yeah,
bet.
food.
Yeah, always.
Yes. Good food, too.
Good food. Yes,
Yes.
you do prepare good meals
Oh,
for
well,
us, so
thank
we
you.
appreciate that. So what will you be preparing for us today?
Today I'm going to be preparing a garden skillet. And in the garden skillet, we have zucchini, yellow bell pepper, green and red bell pepper, grape tomatoes, and onion. Now you can substitute any vegetables that you want to make this at home, but these are the ones that I chose.
All right.
All right, so for this particular recipe, what we do, I've already warmed up the skillet. So we're going to add some oil to it so everything doesn't stick. Not too much oil.
So does it matter what kind of oil you use? Or?
Does not matter
Okay.
which type of oil that you use. This is canola. I usually have olive oil at home. The recipe specifically says vegetable oil, but you don't have to go purchase anything different than what you would usually use to have that. Okay?
Right.
So we have that going. I have already chopped up all the vegetables, so everything is already mixed up in here together. And other than the tomato, all these vegetables are pretty hard, so it's going to take a few minutes for these to actually cook.
Looks good.
But it looks delicious. I love vegetables because of the colors. They just enhance your plate anyway. And then we haven't even added anything else to this. It's just the vegetables. And they
almost too
look
pretty to eat.
delicious. But we're going to eat this, Mr. D.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to let these cook for a few minutes. And then we're going to add some Italian dressing to the mix. And then after that, it'll be about 5 more minutes. And then we'll add the Parmesan cheese to it. And then we can do our taste test.
All right.
Vegetables are nature's medicine.
Okay.
A lot of things that we get from vegetables, the vitamins and the minerals that we get from those, we can take those instead of taking a lot of pills. All the things in the pharmacy on that on the vitamins aisle, they were derived from something in nature. And of course, you already know this. And like you said at the beginning of the show, that vegetables are at the peak of production right now.
They are.
So anything
Yes, they
that you have in your garden, you can go grab that, go wash it off, chop it up, put it in your skillet, and it's good to go. See, I can already smell the onions and the peppers cooking, and it smells delicious.
Right. So right from the backyard to the plate.
From the backyard to the plate. You can't beat that
Can't beat that.
at all. And I want to add that since it's the summertime and the farmers markets are going on, you don't just have to go to Kroger or Walmart or any of the major grocery stores to do your shopping. You can support the local farmers markets. There's farmers markets all over the city.
Right. We have a lot here.
A whole lot. And we actually have an intern with the extension office that is going to 2 farmers markets. She's going to the Methodist South Farmers Market on Monday afternoons, and she's at the South Memphis Farmers Market on Thursday mornings into the afternoon. Okay. And she does food demonstrations just like what I'm doing right now.
Wow, so she does it there, actual demonstrations?
She actually does demonstrations right there on site. And we had
She doesn't have to carry your food there.
She does it. She can just grab it and use it. And we actually, the first week that we went at the Methodist Hospital Farmers Market, a lady tasted the food.
Okay.
And then she went straight out to the producers and went and purchased everything that she needed to put into the recipe.
Hey, there you have it.
So that's great.
There you have it.
All right, so I'm going to add my Italian seasoning.
And it calls specifically for Italian?
It's called specifically for Italian seasoning. Now, I haven't tried this with like a vinaigrette, but I know that you would probably want a vinegar-based dressing to use with this recipe.
Wow, that smells good.
See? Already smells good. Like you can actually use dressing, not just on raw vegetables, on cooked vegetables. And just keep on turning them occasionally. You really want to pay attention to your onions. Once they get their translucent color, you're closer to being done. The tomatoes will be a little bit softer than all the other vegetables, but they still will be delicious. Yeah. No, but we're going to let this cook for about 5 more minutes, and then we'll add our Parmesan.
Okay.
All right. So these onions, the majority of them are starting to look translucent, so it looks like we are ready to add our Parmesan. I'm going to turn the heat down.
Okay. Yeah, it didn't take too long.
It didn't take too long. No.
This looks like something I can do. Can you do this, Mr. D? You think you can handle
I
this?
think I could do that.
You think
I
you
really do. I think I could.
I know you can, Mr. D. And you too, Chris.
Oh, we could do it.
Yeah. But I made this at home one time because we did a demonstration with some youth, and they liked it.
Oh, they ate it?
Yeah. But a few of them were like, oh, I want to eat some meat.
Yeah. Where's the beef? I understand that.
He understands that. He does. So.
Yes.
Hard
But
thing to get over.
I actually made it at home that same week, and I had some grilled chicken that I chopped up and put into it, and it worked really good. It did not hurt it at all.
Yeah.
So this
A
is
little chicken, a little sausage, maybe.
Yeah.
or a little
possibly
pork,
some shrimp.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll probably be delicious.
How about
I
that?
bet you.
Yeah, just it could be like a stir fry, but some different type of vegetables in it, and the way that you cook it, the sauce. But this is pretty much all that you have to do. Chop up your vegetables, cook them up for about 5 to 10 minutes. Add your Italian seasoning, cook it up for about another 5 minutes. Add your Parmesan cheese, and you're good to go. So we're ready to taste. You want to try it out?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
Want to try that
of course.
All right.
And Karen, as you're doing that, I would like to mention that this recipe will be on our website.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Yeah, we definitely want folks to try it out. And then they can add some of that stuff Mr. D
Yeah,
likes,
then you
right?
can add those other things. All right, here you go,
Absolutely.
Chris.
We'll let Mr. D have it first.
Here you
yeah.
go, Mr. D.
Yeah, he's
Thank you.
eyeballing it pretty good
Thank
over
you.
there.
I almost grabbed you by the arm. I almost reached your arm with it. Yeah. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Don't
What's
attack me,
wrong with
Mr.
that?
D. I had some for you. Okay.
Yeah, that looks
Here
good.
you go.
Karen, that's for sure.
I hope you guys enjoy it.
I'll take a quick bite of that.
And this is our garden skillet sizzle.
Nothing at all wrong with that. That's really good.
Oh, it has
Oh,
real
really
good
good.
flavor and taste to it
Yeah.
too, as well.
Yeah. And then
All
it's
right.
still, the color still look nice. So.
So it looks good. Everything looks good. Karen, we thank you much for this cooking demonstration.
You're so welcome.
tastes
Thanks
good.
for having me again.
Thank
I
you for
appreciate
being
it.
here as always. There are a number of gardening events going on in the next couple of weeks. Here are just a few that might interest you. All right, Mr. D, let's talk a little bit about lawn chemicals, and let's start with the phenoxy herbicides. 2,4-D is one of those.
2,4-D is one of them. The benzoic acids, dicamba is another phenoxy
dicamba,
herbicide. Been around for a long time. Phenoxy herbicides have been around since 1946,
That's a long time.
believe it or not. Best known ones are 2,4-D, 2,4,5-T is another well-known one. A few years ago, you don't hear much about that anymore. A combination of 2,4-D and 2,4,5-T made up a material called Agent Orange, which was used back in the Vietnam War. Great product for 2,4,5-T. is really good on killing woody ornamentals. Used it extensively in Texas to control mesquite in pastures and doesn't hurt grasses. But there was a problem with dioxin, and 2,4,5-T is off the market now because of that problem. But 2,4-D is still around. Not the same product, not the problems with dioxin that we had with 2,4,5-T. But in the 2,4-D, 2,4-dichlorophenoxyacetic acid, but really interesting herbicides. And The phenoxy herbicides are auxin inhibitors. They mimic auxins, naturally occurring auxins that are in plants, and so they really just cause the plants to grow themselves to death. When you treat and they're systemic. They're systemic, meaning that if you get a little bit on a plant, it translocates throughout the whole plant. Doesn't immediately kill the plant, but over a period of 2 or 3 weeks maybe, the plant will start to go down, and you'll start to see symptoms of curling, downward growth. It's actually cell division, rapid cell division. The plant is actually growing itself to death, and very safe as far as mammalian toxicity is concerned, safe around humans, but it's pretty deadly on mostly broadleaf plants.
Right.
Right. That's 2,4-D.
That's 2,4-D. What about dicamba?
Dicamba, it's a benzoic acid. It's also in the phenoxy herbicide family, and works exactly the same way. It's an auxin, type inhibitor, and it causes or mimics the naturally occurring auxin that's in a plant, and basically causes very similar symptoms. A lot more leaf cupping as the leaves is growing and it will cup. With 2,4-D, you have stem elongation, and like a tomato plant may go up and around and back up again, and it looks like kind of spaghetti, something like that. But and there's different salts of dicamba. I know in the last couple of years, BASF and Monsanto have released, and also DuPont have released a less volatile form of dicamba. A lot of dicamba and 2,4-D are present in a lot of lawn chemicals, but read that label.
Sure.
You do not apply any of these phenoxy herbicides when the wind's blowing 15 miles an hour and you have neighbors next door with broadleaf. Remember, it kills broadleaf weeds.
And most of your
it
plants
also kills
are
broadleaf flowers and broadleaf shrubs,
That's
and it can damage broadleaf trees. So, and also high temperatures.
That's right.
If the temperatures are during really hot conditions, don't need to use it. And you don't need to use it when there's a temperature inversion, when there's no wind. When there's absolutely no wind right about sundown, when fog's kind of hanging out there, well, that's kind of what some of these herbicides do.
Just hover.
Especially the older formulations, which the older formulations of dicamba are the dicambas that are present in all of the lawn materials. Only the agricultural industry has access now, at this point, to the newer, low volatile forms.
Okay.
They're restricted use pesticides.
That's right.
They've been, the EPA has declared them to be restricted use pesticides. The older, more volatile forms are not restricted use, and any homeowner can buy them. And the only reason they're restricted use is because of their potential to move. And so it's kind of, we got some work to do there, but if you follow the label, they're really, really good to use in the early spring, before a lot of things have greened up, when your target weeds are out there, but the flowers aren't, and you can use them then. But pay attention to when you are responsible for your drift.
That's right.
It's just like when you're driving a boat, you're responsible for your wake. Well, when you're spraying a pesticide, you're responsible for wherever that goes if the wind's blowing.
So what about glyphosate? We hear that all the time, right?
Been around since the 70s. Developed by Monsanto. John Franz discovered in 1970, came on the market in 1974. It is also a systemic, non-selective herbicide. The phenoxys are somewhat selective in that they kill broadleaf weeds or broadleaf plants, and they leave the grasses. That's why it's so good in lawns, so good in pastures and things like that. When glyphosate first came out under the trade name of Roundup, it was a non-selective herbicide. It killed anything you put it on, and it did that for a number of years. And then after a time, some weeds began to develop resistance because it was used so much, and a little light bulb went off in somebody's head and said, if we have a weed that has resistance, maybe we can create crops that have resistance. So a brand spanking new technology was developed, Roundup Ready cotton, Roundup Ready soybeans, Roundup Ready corn. Plants, you could plant these crops and spray over the top, and it would kill every weed in that crop and leave the crop. And you may only have to do it a couple of times a year, you know, 1 or 2 applications. So it drastically reduced the amount of herbicides that had to be applied to a field. It reduced the amount of tillage that had to be done. And but unfortunately, some of those weeds began to, that were resistant, began to crop up, and so we've had to go back and you have to do things a little different. Now farmers have to use, you know, they've along the same lines, they've come up with dicamba tolerant crops. They've come up with 2,4-D tolerant crops, and there will, I'm sure there will be others as we go down the road. But farmers there's no longer a magic bullet. You know, farmers now have to use pre-emergent herbicides, and they have to target. It's kind of like, you know, we tell you to do, homeowner, when you have an insect out there, identify what the insect is, and then use what you know will kill that insect, or to control it. If it needs controlling, it may not need controlling, you know. And but glyphosate is one of the most widely used herbicides in the world, and still very widely used. The patent expired, I think, in 2000, and so there are a lot of generic glyphosates out there. And that's,
but again, read the label on that as well.
Read the label. Read the label. Labels are actually very interesting, and they tell you, you know, how to use the product, how to dispose of it, what to wear, how to be safe with it. Very, very interesting.
Okay, so the last one, Cethoxidime.
Cethoxidime. That's under the trade name of Post. It's also there's several trade names that homeowners use. Top 2. But it is a selective post-emergent herbicide that primarily kills grasses. It's just the opposite of the phenoxy herbicides. They kill the broadleaves and kill grasses. The Cethoxidime you will leave the broadleaf and kill grasses, and so you can actually spray it over the top of like strawberries, soybeans, and things like that, and it won't hurt the broadleaves. It'll kill the grasses. But it is it's also a systemic, and it takes it a while. The systemics usually take a while to work. You know, glyphosate and most of these systemics may take a week or 2, but most of the herbicides that homeowners use are going to be systemic in nature.
All right, that's some good stuff. It's a good lesson. Right.
Interesting
stuff. All right, and again, always read and follow the label. All right. Thank you, sir. Mr. D is not going to be happy about this. This is like possible weed eater damage to his blueberry plants. As you can see, a lot of the cambium layer has been knocked off of the blueberry stem down here below. That exposes, you know, this plant to insect pest damage or fungal damage. So be very careful when using weed eaters or lawnmowers around plants. Again, because you don't want to disturb this cambium layer, okay? Which is why it's always a good idea to mulch. So 2 to 3 inches of mulch, put it away from the stem of the plant, and you'll be just fine. Again, you don't want weed eater blight on your plants. All right, it's our Q&A segment. Karen, we get in trouble, you jump in there and help us out, all right?
I got you.
All right, so here's our first viewer email. I know that glyphosate in weed and grass killer enters a plant through the green leaves. How does MSMA enter a plant? Root or green leaves? And this is from Randy right here in Cordova. Good question, though, from Mr. Randy.
It is green leaves, though.
Green
the
leaves.
answer is green leaves. So it does. It comes. It's also systemic, and it enters through the leaves.
Right. MSMA.
MSMA.
Interesting.
Monosodium methyl arsenate. That's where your MSMA
That's
comes
what it is.
And it's not arsenic. Not monosodium methyl arsenic. It's monosodium methyl arsenate. And there's a big difference. It is an arsenic-based herbicide, but it is an organoarsenate, and the organoarsenate are essentially non-toxic to mammals. The inorganic forms of arsenates are very toxic, highly toxic to mammals, and they are the inorganic form of arsenates. So that's why MSMA is what was for years and years the main product used on football fields, athletic fields where kids are rolling around in there, because it's not the toxic form of the arsenic. And but it is no longer being manufactured. I understand it's still out there, and if you have any existing stocks, you can use it. And I'm not real sure. I don't really understand why so much of it is still out there, unless it is still being manufactured.
That's a good question.
I know farmers don't use it, can't use it on pastures anymore, and there are other products that are out there that have come on that are pretty good, and same way in home lawns. I mean, it's primarily crabgrass, and I think some activity on nutsedge.
Yeah, Dallas grass.
Dallas
big
grass,
for that.
and but there's there are other.
Yeah,
herbicides.
quinclorac.
Quinclorac is
pretty much the replacement now for MSMA for the homeowners.
Right.
Right.
And
Drive, for the commercial guys,
Yeah,
but a lot of those guys, MSMA was definitely for crabgrass control and controlling that Dallas grass.
I think Paramount is another trade name for the quinclorac, and then Facet. And it's a very common product, one of the best products used in the rice industry.
Oh, interesting.
Rice farmers love quinclorac.
All right. So there you have it, Randy. Good question. Yeah. Green leaves.
Green leaves is the answer. Right.
All right. Here's our next via email. How do I kill tall fescue grass in my Bermuda lawn? So yeah, everybody's looking to kill something, right? The tall fescue, of course, we know is a cool season grass.
That's right.
All right.
That's right.
So if I'm thinking about in my Bermuda lawn, the first thing I would do though? I would wait till my Bermuda goes dormant. Would you do that?
I would.
And then I'll just probably spot spray it with glyphosate.
That's right.
I think
But make sure your Bermuda's
Make
dormant.
sure it's dormant though.
Don't wait around until March 15th and your Bermuda grass looks green, but down there at the very base of it, it's got a little green to it. Because if you do that where you spot spray that fescue, you're going to...
Oh, you'll be able to tell.
The Bermuda grass won't come up
That's
there.
right. You'll be able to tell. Bermuda is tough, but you would be able to tell. But I would wait into the dormant season, make sure that Bermuda lawn is dormant.
Fescue's going to be green.
That's going to be green, right? So you get out there, spot spread. You can use I've seen people use the wicks, sponges, things like that.
Can't you broadcast spray a dormant Bermuda grass lawn?
You can. You got to be careful.
Yeah, but if it's dormant, and not only will you kill your fescue, you'll kill your winter weeds.
You kill your winter weeds.
Is that a problem?
Well. That's not a problem.
You kill all those winter weeds that are out there.
That's not a problem.
Yeah.
Just be careful with it.
Yeah.
Especially if you have a lot of them. You don't have that much. You can just
spot spray.
Yeah, spot spray.
But there's also if during the growing season, will it take fescue out?
It has some activity on fescue. It sure does.
I think.
Yeah, it'll probably be multiple applications, but it does have some activity on it.
So if you can't wait till the winter time, Image, you might want to give that a try. It's pretty expensive.
Pretty expensive stuff.
But,
right. But at this point in time, I would wait.
Glyphosate's cheaper.
It's cheaper. Yeah. Wait till the dormant season. All right, thanks for the question. Here's our next video email. What kind of fruit is this? The inside looks like a musk melon. This is from Israel, Jonesboro, Arkansas. Don't you like the shoe there for reference? I like the shoe for reference.
But does he have a small foot? No. What size shoe is that? I can't tell.
I tell you what, that's a good picture of a snake gourd.
Is that what that is?
That's a snake gourd.
I used to know what that was, but I felt confident that you'd know.
Oh, yeah, that's all snake gourd is what that is.
It's edible, isn't it?
It's edible, full of vitamins, nutrients, and minerals.
I'm going to have to look that up. Never heard of a snake gourd.
Yeah, it's related to squash, cucumber, and melons.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. So just, okay, I'm going to look that up, Chris.
So there you have it. Yeah, snake gourd. A lot of people, of course, use it for ornamental purposes, to put out in their gardens because it, looks like a snake. So they use it, like Jason Reeves and Jackson would use it for, for that purpose.
It won't make a very good birdhouse.
Yeah,
a small bird.
Small bird. All right. So there you have it, Israel. We appreciate that. It's a snake gourd, all right? Again, full of vitamins, nutrients, and minerals. So it is good. All right, so thanks for your question. All right, here's our next email. What is this growth on my blackberry bush? Is it a crown gall? And this is from Carrie in Proctor, Arkansas.
Yeah.
All right.
No, I don't think it's a crown gall. I think it's
I didn't think so either.
Blackberry knot gall wasp.
Knot gall. Oh, okay.
That's right.
Right. You had to educate us on that one there.
Blackberry knot gall wasp is what it's.
Oh, wasp. Okay.
Wasp. It's a wasp
that causes the gall. That makes sense.
Right. The wasps lay their egg in the stem, and it causes the cells of the plant to grow, and the cells get big, and it's a place for the larvae and the eggs and the larvae to develop. And it's not going to hurt the plant at all.
Yeah, I was going to run this question.
Okay. Yeah. I wouldn't. You can prune it off if you want to, and if you do, put it in a jar and see what happens.
That'd be cool.
See what comes
Yeah,
out.
that'd be cool.
But that's what it is. It's very the longitudinal ridges on it are very a good identifier for the gall wasp.
Okay. Yeah, I knew it was a gall. Yeah. So not gall, which is caused by a wasp.
Right.
So there you have it, Carrie. So don't worry about it, right, Mr. D? You said it's not anything that you would treat for or anything like that, right?
Right. Not at all.
Not at all. So it won't hurt the plant. All right, so thanks for your question. All right. So Karen, Mr. D, we're out of time.
Okay.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, you're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
Remember, we love to hear from you. Send us an email or letter. The email address is familyplot@wkno.org, and the mailing address is Family Plot, 7151 Cherry Farms Road, Cordova, Tennessee 38016. Or you can go online to familyplotgarden.com. That's all we have time for today. Thanks for joining us. If you want to get Karen's recipe or learn more about lawn chemicals, go to familyplotgarden.com. I'm Chris Cooper. Be sure to join us next week for the Family Plot, Gardening in the Mid-South. Be safe.